What's up, guys? Dealer Collector back with another video on the channel. Today we are going to be reviewing the Inart Superman from BVS, also known as Dawn of Justice. This is a figure that I was on the fence about collecting. Wasn't sure if this was going to fit my collection and all that stuff, but I gotta be honest with you guys. This is a pre-owned figure, so this was not something I pre-ordered from anybody in particular. And this particular figure has been at my local comic shop for months. It feels like months now. I don't know, maybe a month or two or something like that. But anytime I go in there looking for new stuff, it's staring at me. It feels like, D-Lo, take me home, take me home. And on Father's Day, I said, you know what? I'm going to treat myself, and I picked it up. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to review this figure. So with this figure in mind here, just want to be completely transparent. Again, this is a pre-owned figure, so this is not brand new. So I do not know what I'm going to get when I open this up eventually in a second over here. We're going to kind of experience this together. But that, again, will not play into the what I think of the figure. So I don't know. The condition looked good when I got to look at it in the store, but I haven't had a chance to really touch it and put it through its paces. So we'll find out together. But guys, before we open that up, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that bell notification if you guys like content like this and want to know when new content will be on the channel. So without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and open this bad boy up. See if we all like it, see if I like it, and see if this is something I'll recommend. Okay, starting off with the art box here. Really dig it. Reminiscent of the old movie posters that were promoting the movie back then. Nice touch, nice touch. Okay, let's go ahead and open this up here. Standard fold out for an Inart box here. Yep, there goes your instructions with your little ticket card and all that stuff like per usual. Okay, here we got the good stuff here. Damn, we have Superman here in his plastic bag. Just personal feelings, I'm not a big fan of all the plastic. I appreciate the thought behind it there, but for me it's just extra work. But let's try to pull Superman out of this real quick. Let's get a quick look at him here. Let's see what we got. Okay, wow. Okay, so first reaction, I will say that I was concerned about this head sculpt, but after seeing it more in person, it is quick reaction. It looks really good. It looks a lot better than I thought it would do. So I already know I was going to be a fan of the infrared heat ray head sculpt, whatever you want to call it there. But this one is actually no slouch as well too. So that's good to see here. So yeah, okay, I like it. Cape is interesting. Feeling material there. Okay. It tends to buckle up there. Well, let's not get into too much of it right now. Let's go ahead and put it down. Let's get everything out, take a look at everything, talk about it, and get a reaction. Okay, so now that we got everything outside the box, we have Superman here. We have some more accessories here. The base, head sculpts. We'll go over that there. All the hands that we have over here. So we got everything all lined up nice and ready to go. All right, so let's start with Superman again. First thing I want to also point out as well, it's got good weight to it there. Doesn't feel cheap, doesn't feel like it's plasticky or super light. It looks and feels really, really good. Let's pull off the head sculpts. I want to focus on those for now here. Again, impression of head sculpt again for this particular one, really, really strong. This is one of those typical Inart kind of head sculpts that I have a problem with here. Soft paint apps, harder to notice on video and photography, so it doesn't really show very well. This one, however, this one has always been the one that I can always tell from a mile away is hands down the superior of the two. Now, nothing against the other head sculpt. I like it as well too. But this one here, you can see Henry Cavill from every angle. It is fantastic. It's a little bit limited because it only has the heat ray vision eyes on there, which I do like that they had. I do wish this also had the normal eyes as well, like the other head sculpt there. But you can see, I mean, they're both Henry Cavill through and through. Like, just, they really nailed it there. I would say it's harder to recognize it on the more relaxed reaction, right? Because there's not as much expression. But yeah, I can tell a mile away this is both are easily Henry Cavill's best head sculpts I've ever seen. All right, let's start by first dismantling the figure a little bit more. So I'm going to show you guys how to take off the cape. Now, this is a very common issue with this figure from what I've seen online. You want to be taking your time with these here. Those little prongs that go inside the chest itself here. You want to wiggle them nice and slow. They can get caught in there pretty easily. So take your time. The most important thing I would say is like hold on to the suit and try to wiggle it from the cape so that way those don't get, see those holes are getting bigger there. Like that's just because of the friction from constantly kind of pulling it in and out there. So not the best design in my opinion on that there. So I want to show you here. This is the second cape that comes with it here. This is the wired cape. Very strong wires, and this actually probably, in my opinion, maybe a little too strong for my liking. Never been a big fan of wire capes, but I mean, they do serve its purposes, especially for photography and stuff. So I understand the appeal of these here, but just trying to get these all out. You can see here, those are the prongs I'm talking about. Those go inside and slot into the chest itself there. So you want to be careful. You want to fold those appropriately there. Don't put too much strain on them there because from what I've been told, what I've seen, these things tend to do a number to your figure if you're not too careful. So keep that in mind with your copy. Now, moving on here, we got the Kryptonite Spear and Rock. Kind of bizarre having those with Superman, but that's what they gave him here, so that's cool. We got the little canister with the Dust Kryptonite there. The Mass Batman sculpt, which is very interesting. It comes with the magnetic hand to place on it there. I will say the magnet, very strong. Not bad at all. I like this. This is probably my favorite accessory by far. Then the creepiest accessory has to go to the pictures of Martha. They must have really had to think hard to figure out what to put with Superman, so they figured, let's give us that too. The base itself, my arch nemesis, I like to call him, is not too bad this time here. It still has the magnetic base pieces there. I couldn't even bother to open it up there, truth be told. But this is the first time I've seen a flight pole, so I was curious to see how this works. So you just kind of wiggle this piece off here. And just kind of take your time with this here. It can bend a little bit. You can put it back into shape, but you just basically stick this in, plug it into your base piece, and there you go. And then what you want to do is you just want to unzip this part of the suit and kind of spread it open and line it up correctly. And that's pretty much it. Just stick it in. There you go. All right, for the next part of this review here, I wanted to do things a little bit different. Specifically for Inart purposes here. I'm not going to do this on every review, but I just feel like there's now a tendency that I'm noticing with Inart figures, that at least from my experience, that I'm just really having a hard time getting past here. So maybe you agree with me, maybe you don't. That's totally fine. But one of my biggest hesitations with Inart figures is that the promotion photos, or I wouldn't even say on blogger photos because it's really just user photos. They don't really do blogger photos that often. They'll put a couple out there, but again, my point where I'm going with this here is like I don't get the immediate wow factor every time. Now, don't get me wrong. There's some newer figures that are out there today that instantly speak for themselves, like the Harry Potter Professor Snape. That one I think amazing. Really just hard not to like that particular figure there. But there's been some in my collection that when I see them in Proto, I really feel like I'm taking a chance on the figure because I just don't know if it's just as good as some people say they are. For me, they look kind of bland in photos a lot of times, kind of expressionless, kind of like it's, I don't know. I can't really put my finger in it. But I think I figured it out. With my Aragorn that I picked up, that was the first time I really was impressed by Inart. The Joker, wasn't a fan of it there. Debated that all you will. I think the Hot Toys one is superior in my opinion. But when I got Aragorn in hand, everybody was just trashing that figure, right? I mean, they said it was too... The hair didn't look good. And again, I had the sculpted one. The hair wasn't too good. Everything wasn't really working for them. And, and that's completely fair. That's completely fair. But when I got it in hand, I saw it, I was like, whoa, this looks way better than any photo I've ever seen taken of that figure. And to this day, I will probably argue I maybe have seen a handful of photos of that figure a year later that actually look good. Everything else just looks bland to me, quite frankly. But this is why I have this on right now. I want to share with you guys what proper lighting, what the proper experience is actually like in person with these figures here. Because this is now my, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, fourth maybe Inart figure. And I got to tell you, like these figures for me at least from the reputation that I'm starting to give it myself here, is like these figures, in my opinion, look better in person than they do in any photos. They just don't photograph very well. And I think a lot of it has to do with the softness of the paint apps. I think we're also used to Hot Toys' stronger paint applications. And I think by far, Hot Toys still has paint applications better than any company by a mile. But it's not to say that these paint apps aren't any good. I think they are good. I just don't think they photograph as well under normal lighting, right? I think in person, the reaction is, wow, these figures look great. But I think if you're taking a photo and you're not quite skilled with taking a photo, it could leave a lot to be desired. And then for us, where we're relying on photos of other people's collections or other, photographers, and it just doesn't hit you that way, well, then it kind of sways your way if you decide you want to pick up a figure or not. So for me, where I'm going with this here is I think now I'm going to be a little bit more conscientious of that here. I think I'm going to really try harder to give Inart the benefit of the doubt a little bit more, because I'm just finding more and more that with every new release that I pick up, I'm more satisfied with the figures than I have been in the past. I really am. So they are getting better. So I'm going to give them credit where credit's due. This figure is just another prime example of that. I wanted to put this figure in the best lighting. Tell me what you think. Do you think it looks better now that you're kind of seeing it from my eyes and how I see the figure now? Because for me personally, I feel like this figure really now pops. So I'm hoping that this kind of helped you guys kind of see through my eyes what I'm seeing through now. But now that we've kind of had like a little chance to take a look at the head sculpt, let's take a look at the whole figure and see if we can get us some fun poses. And let's have a good time with it. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed that little quick posing session. I was intending on cutting the video short from here, but then out of nowhere, this happened to my drape cape. So this is the little toggle that goes inside of Superman, so that way the cape can be flush on the figure. I was intending on using the wired cape, and unfortunately, while I was pulling this one out, it just got jammed inside of Superman, and I was trying to slowly wiggle it out, and unfortunately it did not want to cooperate, and it wound up ripping off of the cape and falling inside of Superman. So that little red piece there you saw was actually inside of Superman himself. So immediately had to put a pause to the video and see if I can salvage it, fix the cape. What am I going to do with everything over here? So basically what I had to do is I had to take the suit off in order to find a way if I can fish out that red piece, because yeah, it freaked me out because that red piece was just rattling inside of the body. So basically, yeah, pretty scary stuff when you're paying $400 for a figure. But needless to say, I was able to get it out. And I figured I was going to turn this into a positive, even though I was very frustrated that something like this happened. I saw this happen to a couple figures that people had the same issue with Superman. But what I wound up doing was, since I had the suit off, I wound up doing the shoulder mod. So if you're not familiar with that, I actually saw it on social media. A bunch of people are doing it now. So basically, it helps the proportions of your Superman look more aesthetically correct to Henry Cavill's body form. So I wound up doing that, and I gotta say, I really enjoyed my figure even more than I did before now. Take a look here. So this right here is actually the final product. I actually have a Jackson U cape on it here, which I happen to find in my, goodies box that I keep all my extra stuff in here. So that came in clutch. I fixed the shoulders. I took them off. Basically, that's what the mod is. And then you put like some foam in there to basically stick it on there and give it more of that bulkier look there. And I got to say, guys, I love this new look here. It's a subtle touch to it there, but it's so, in a way, and it's so much better than what we got there. Don't get me wrong, I think the figure is really good in its own, but I think this one simple little tweak really just helps elevate this figure just to another level here. So what do you guys think? Did I fix it? Did I mess it up? I'd love to know what you guys think in the comments down below here, but moving on, let's continue to review. All right, we got a quick side-by-side here. So I have the Inart figure on the left that we've been reviewing, and on my right, I have the last version made by Hot Toys here. Now, this is not a comparison. I think there really, quite frankly, is not at this point. I mean, you can judge for yourself here. You have both of them on screen. I'll let you decide for yourself. For me, the Inart figure is hands down the clear-cut winner, if we're going to talk about that. But no, that's not what we're here to talk about. This is to come back to the point of what I made earlier, talking about paint applications. I feel Inart paint applications are a bit soft. Hot Toys is a little bit more high depth, if you will. My camera has autofocus, and putting these two together on there, my camera is leaning towards the Hot Toys one because it has more detail in the paint and it's picking it up easier. Notice how it's a little bit blurrier. You look on the left to the Inart one, which we've had a great time with this figure this entire review, but this is the point I was trying to make earlier before. So I wanted to give you guys a nice comparison. We're not talking about, who's better, who's not. In my opinion, the Inart one is by far the best one, but this is what I mean about Inart in general here. These paint apps are very soft and they're hard to pick up. So it doesn't translate to what you get in person. In person is fantastic. Photos leaves a lot to be desired. Wrapping up on the Inart Superman from BVS, I will say, guys, this has been an interesting figure to review. It's been a lot of positives, few bumps and roads. I wouldn't even call them negatives because honestly, I actually think it came out better than I thought anyways. But make the long story short here, I got to say, as far as things that I love about the figure, I think the head sculpts are wonderful. I think they both are fantastic choices in your display. I love the body proportions of this particular Superman. I think Inart killed it when it comes to that part there. I really think they knocked it outside the park. And as far as some negatives here, it's QC things here. So one thing I haven't touched on in the video yet is the hands. You guys have probably heard this before, but those hands definitely live up to their reputation. They are hard to get on the figure. You do have to heat them up. It is a right pain in the you-know-what. But if you're going to pose your Superman, you're going to have to do that there for sure. So be mindful of that. Be prepared. Be prepared. As far as negatives, I think the capes are lacking. They are better for a stock cape. I just think that the execution is not there, and it leads to some errors, and it actually can mess up the suit. I was fortunate enough that it was just the cape that got messed up and not the suit itself. I've seen people wear their complete holes in the top of the cape holder section. It rips off entirely too. So is it user error? Possibly, but I also know that it's not easy to get those capes in and off. So in conclusion, would I recommend this figure? Despite what I just said there, I still think there's a lot more good than bad when it comes to this figure. And quite frankly, in my opinion, this is the best Henry Cavill Superman on the market today as of the recording of this video here. So 100%, I'm very happy with my purchase. I like it a lot. I think it's probably my favorite Inart figure I have so far in the collection. So we'll see if that continues to stay that way. But overall, guys, yeah, this is a great figure. Pick it up. That's going to wrap it up for us, guys. Thank you so much for staying to the very end. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that bell notification one last time if you haven't already. I will catch you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care.